good? Okay, so clean dry wheel head. You have the pat of clay from the last time you threw a ball, just leave it on there. Just make sure you don't have a bunch of junk and slip. When we put the clay on, stop the wheel. Some people will throw it on there while it's spinning. You can be fancy and do that, but there's really no reason to. Okay, take your ball of clay, look at center, smack it. If it's not quite on center, you're gonna move it over, smack it down good, okay? So at this point, you guys are just gonna watch. Okay, so top speed, this is where we think about body position. We're locking our left elbow into our body, and we're getting this hand position here. This is from the elbow, locked to our body, a straight line across the center of that clay. This is the center right here. That's where I want to apply my pressure. Not over here and not over here, straight into that. This thumb muscle rolls down, and I've got a little bit of an angle on my hand here, okay? My right hand's gonna come next to it, pushing hard against it, and I call this the karate chop. When we first put the ball on, we wanna start here, then we move to the cone. I've seen a lot of people come into the sides, you're pushing that away, get it attached first. So remember, we get wet up to our wrists. We lock this elbow to our body. We're coming at 7 o'clock, right on this edge. We want to roll that thumb muscle down and catch that top edge. Bring this hand next to it, karate chop down. So with our whole body, we're coming onto that clay, and we're starting that process. As soon as this gets dull, you need more water. Now, people ask me, what's the left position when we cone? Your left hand does not change position, it stays. Spread this out, and I'm going to apply pressure through the top knuckles. Might put on the pedal. So here, strong, open. Notice you can see in the camera, the top, I want to see that as I apply strong pressure from my body and pressure down through my top knuckles. This isn't a squeeze it in, this is shove away, pressure down. As soon as you have any kind of a cone, I want you to keep your left hand in position, slide up, and karate chop it back down. Every time you do this, you might get a little bit off as you cone. It might get a little wonky. Don't worry about it. Slide up, and as you come down, this strong pressure right here is what's going to get it back to center, okay? So if you're wobbling at all, this pressure, strong, I flexed my leg muscle, that's all I did. Strong right here, come in on top, karate chop it down. So do this about 3 or 4 times until your clay is running smooth and centered underneath your hands. And I've got a little bit down there in the bottom. I'm gonna go a little taller on my cone. So I'm gonna get a little deeper into that clay. We're trying to force the center of the clay up. And as you come down, your right hand should be on center, karate chopping. Your left hand should still be here. So this hand does not change position. Try to leave it in position. Dip water, rotate this one, move this arm, okay? Now that we've got that centered, this hand is still in this position. The difference is I'm off the clay. I want to be back here, and I'm still locking my hand here. I'm finding center with my middle finger. You can see the pressure. As I push down on that, it takes pressure to find that. If you're not on center, your finger's gonna be wobbling. Fight against the wobble. You hold it in place. You're the boss of the clay. The other option is here. We push our thumbs together, tips on the wheel head, and we're literally pushing hard against each other and down into that clay on center. I don't care which method you use. I like this one. So hand off the clay, locked, dive down in. Let me get that water out of there so you can see it. I want you to watch in the overhead camera as I go down, push down, stop when you think you're about a 1/4 inch off the bottom, and then you're gonna take a measurement. This is where the needle tool comes in. You're gonna stab it, and this is where we rotate our hand, slide down, hold it, and pull out. So I'm way thick, so you can see in the camera that I've got quite a bit, almost a 1/2 inch there. So I'm gonna go down one more time. Go back to this position, and you notice that my other 2 fingers are there supporting. They're They're leaving a ring in there because they're in the way, but they are not pushing down as much as the middle finger. My middle fingers are the bosses. Okay, so again, full stop, slide that in, slide down till I touch the top of the clay. That's where I want to be, that 1/4 inch right there, okay? So now I've opened this down. I want to pull and open this out. Left hand is out here, not touching the wall of clay. As I go to that low point, my middle finger is finding the very bottom there. These two guys are supporting it. And what I do is I crook my finger back. So I pull that finger under just a little bit, and I'm gonna open this so watching the camera you can see just a little bit of a crooking that finger back. All I did right there was pull it under. So now I have a wall right here. And I'm gonna pull this wall back. Notice this connection right here is strong, but I'm pulling back. It gets tacky, get a little water, go back, pull back. So right at this point, it starts to get easier. Don't make the mistake of pulling it off your base. Pull out. See, I have a little bit of a bulge right here. That's fine, but if I keep going, I'm off the base altogether, and I don't want to be off the base, okay? So inside here, we're gonna do a compression. Hold your sponge strong, wring all the water out of it, support your hand, let that sponge wrap around your fingertips, push down to the wall, back to the wall. Don't push out on the wall anymore, but go to the wall and back to center and flatten out that bottom, okay? Now we're gonna sit up tall. We're gonna get off of our legs. We're going to change our position so that our locking now comes through our side, our elbows. We're gonna pull our hands back. We don't wanna be forward. We don't wanna be trying to reach behind. We wanna pull these back and look over the top of your fingers. Now, when I say over the top, I don't mean over the top like this. I mean over the top like this. I can see down that line of my finger, and it's a little dry. So, left hand goes in. This finger is riding in this bottom corner where I pulled that wall out straight up and down. If you have a big slope, it's more challenging. Get that flat bottom in that corner. This left hand is locked down. It becomes a wall. My right hand connects hard, not passively, but aggressively. Get under. Sorry, that was stupid. I'm the queen of stupid jokes. I had a joke earlier and everybody was like, I mean, it was a joke, just it was funny. And my son's like, I smiled. Okay, so right here, I have quite a bulge. I'm not gonna dig under that to move clay. I'm just gonna come under that. So if you watch right here, this hand now gets under that clay. I'm gonna catch that ridge with my fingertip here. This guy's not letting that clay come in anymore. It's holding firm right there, and it's not pushing out either. And I'm gonna get under that clay, and as I pull that wall up and off, see the major change on the outside wall? Now, if you're not comfortable, don't be aggressive like that on your first pull. Think about the position. So I still have a little bit of an undercut. It's a little dry, a little bit of a drink. Left hand gliding, get under this. I still have a ridge, so I'm gonna get under that this time again. Steady, steady. Notice I can see my fingertips. Can you see my fingertips in the camera? Can you see this part right here? Okay, if you're here, you can't see what's going on. You're stretching that clay as it fights its way through. So you're tip to tip, and your tips are here, opposite each other. Not forward and backward, not under and over. Tip to tip, okay? Little rim compression. This is an alligator jaw here. Little pressure down. Clean that up. Repeat the process. So now I've got a little slope here. I've got a little bit here. I'm gonna come across there. Get that clay, most of it just came off. Get under there, see that ridge on the outside. That is what I keep above my fingertip. Steady, and as I come to the rim, I don't let go, but I come above the rim before I release my steady pressure, okay? So as it gets taller and as it gets drier, you want to keep it lubricated, and this is the point where you want to start slowing your wheel down. I can't. So I'm gonna make it work. Get in here strong, because the thinner these walls are, little wobble, work through it, steady, steady, up. And notice my whole body comes up. I'm finding we get bowls a lot of time because we get to a certain point and we don't know what to do with our body because we haven't figured out how to lift our wrists and then lift our shoulders and maybe even take a breath. So combination of movements brings those hands up taller. It's when we get to this point and we're like, I can't go any farther, then we start to sweep away from us because then we can, it looks like we're going taller, but we're actually just spreading out that clay. So that is about 4 inches tall. I'm going to shape it, so go low, inside, and this is a tease of the inside hand. I'm going to allow it to come out a little bit and make a belly. And again, this is where I'd slow things down if I could. Steady, so see that little bit there, and I eased on pressure because it got real thin right there. And now I'm going to rotate here and notice my whole body's following that movement as I come off. Okay, I can tease that more, but I've got, this is pretty weak right through here, and because my wheel's going so fast, I'm not going to push it anymore. I'm letting the clay tell me, hey, I've had enough. Let's just ease off right here. So wring all the water out of your clay, hold it firmly, or if it's tall enough, go tall finger here. Support your hand because our hands are always connected. No matter what we're doing, push down, clean up the excess water, glide up that wall. This is a nice time to clean up your rim a little bit. And I clean off the wheel head because these are the finishing touches, and the clay goes on the wheel with clean and dry hands, clean and dry wheel head, and comes off. So I'm going to use this favorite tool, this flexi metal rib. I'm going to bow it a little bit. And I'm going to start low, and I'm going to touch to the surface. I'm supported on my right leg. I'm supporting my hands. I'm not on the wheel this time because I don't need this strength. I'm just locking here. I'm going to barely, this is a lightly touch the surface, and I'm scraping the surface of that. You can see the change in color. And off. If I get really aggressive with this tool, it can change the shape, but I'm not going to. Again, I can't slow my wheel down. So I cleaned off some slip, and at this point, I'm going to just put a little right there. I just want a little bit of variation so that that can catch the glaze and do something fun with it. So this tool, the knife, if you have a bulbous shape, it's better to use the scoop end of your tool here against that. Go strong and start to go underneath it. It's a little easier than trying to get the tall blade here. I always hold my tools firmly in my hand, not like a pencil or like I'm going to draw or paint. I want to hold it strong and firm. I lay on my right leg, I put the tool on the wheel head first, and I support my hands here. This angle is super important. If we want to scrape the wall of the pot, this blade, this angle has to come in at the right angle. If I roll it away from me and I'm hitting the wall with this, that clay is just going across the top and you build up a ridge and it starts to stick back on the pot. If I go too low, I'm just cutting underneath it, potentially creating a ridge again. So this angle is important. The tip is slightly away from me, but I'm at the 3 o'clock position, and this angle is slightly rolled towards me, not away from me, and not down. So strong, push in. As soon as you start to grab clays, if I don't pull back immediately, see it starts to attach, so go in again, push in. As soon as you grab it, pull back. So you can see that goober right there. I'm not worried about it because this time I'm going to come over the top of it, clean that up, and pull back. And when I say pull back, I mean slide back on the wheel, clean up the junk here. If you got a lot of buildup here, rotate the flat edge against the wheel and go in and clean that up that way and wipe it off. So this is repeat, repeat, repeat until you're happy with that foot. The more you dig under, the darker. So this is, you should see dark clay underneath there. I've got quite a ridge up there. I'm going to come over the top of it here. Push down. Still have quite a ridge. So we're going to go back to this tool right here. See what I did right there? Found that ridge, caught it, and just cleaned it up. Nice and firm. And wipe that off. Okay, so now got a little bit of a weird flare on the top of that. I think it's okay. I'm gonna call it good. So I don't want to reintroduce water with my sponge there. I'm not going to go near the base. This is where I'm going to clean the slip and the gunk off my hands. Stop your wheel. So this tacky right here, you should be able to touch that and not get an ounce of slip on you. Inside here, there's slip, right? If you got any slip right here, when you go to lift it off, your hands are gonna slide through it. And you guys did really great last week about cleaning them off. So grab your wire cutter by the wires, go to the post, wrap one hand. If you have a long wire, possibly two, you want this to be taut, but you want enough distance away from the edge of the pot that you're not going to hit them as you pull through. So these go down strong on the wheel head and you pull straight forward underneath, immediately set it down, wide piece fingers upside down, go right underneath, and it should just pop right off. And